Welcome to the Seeding and Selection Show for the 2024 NMAA State Soccer Championships. On this show, we will release the brackets for all classes and then let the games begin. Big shout out to the Ruidoso girls soccer team, who I know they're watching this show. The Sandia Prep girls are enjoying some Mexican food, I'm sure. Save me some, by the way. Oak Grove is out there watching. Hope Christian, welcome to the party. But before we get to the brackets, we always like to remind everyone how the seeding and selection process works. The seeding process is not the NMAA just sitting in a room randomly deciding who should be the 1 seed, the 2 seed, etc., etc. It is not that. What it is a process that is all data driven. The following criteria is used to determine a team's seed. We look at finish in regular season district play, max preps rankings, overall record, wins against district champs regardless of class, member school input, that's the coach's input and their rankings, and any head-to-head matchups. The schools are compared to one another with each of those criteria points, and the seeding is determined like one big math problem. It's all based on the numbers and data. In the event of a tie among those criteria points, head-to-head will be used to break the tie. If there's no head-to-head competition or the head-to-head competition is tied, then max prep's strength of schedule will be used to break the tie. There is no input given by NMAA staff. I'm going to repeat that even though I'm sure you all know this. No input by NMAA staff. It's all data driven based on those criteria points. Did you beat a district champ? Did you have a higher record or better record? Were you ranked higher? All of those things. There is no bias for or against any school or team. Now that you understand how it's done, let's get to it. You clicked on the show to see the brackets, right? I know. Well, ladies first. Let's start with girls, Class A through 3A. The top seed heading into this bracket is a team that's been number one before, Sandia Prep. The Sun Devils have won each of the last 3 state titles and 12 state championships as a program. Their only losses this season are to La Cueva, Volcano Vista, and Albuquerque Academy twice, all powerhouses. Sandia Prep has won 12 in a row. They have 8 seniors on the squad. The way they prepare for state is a grueling training scenario.
Any player that's been a part of my program knows that the week leading up to state is literally like fitness, crunch time, preseason camp. It really is. It's putting ourselves through the fitness, through the grueling, defensive work, the tactical, approaches that could potentially happening in these, one and done scenarios that really puts us in the right mindset to be facing any opponent that we'll be having.
Here's a look at the bracket. Sandia Prep will take on St. Michael's, the 8 seed. Santa Fe Prep is the 5 and will travel to Albuquerque to face Bosque, the 4. Cottonwood Classical is the 3 seed and will host ATC, the 6. East Mountain is your 7 and will travel to Ruidoso, who earned the number 2 seed. Now, Ruidoso and Cottonwood Classical were tied when comparing them head-to-head in the criteria points, but Ruidoso beat Cottonwood Classical, and so Ruidoso is the 2 seed and Cottonwood the 3. There is your first bracket of the show. Moving on to Class 4A. Much like Class A through 3A, we have another repeat champ on top heading into the 2024 postseason. Hope Christian earned the number 1 seed. Hope is the 3-time defending state champ, going for 4 in a row. Hope is undefeated and on a 34-match unbeaten streak dating back to last season. One more, and they would break their own record set last year.
I've never had a team that has dug and worked as hard as these girls have. I mean, I would put them up almost against any track team at this point with their fitness level and what they've done. So work rate and then the love they have for each other. We've got kids. I was joking yesterday with one of our senior captain, Dylan. I asked her, she did so many fitness workouts and she's always hated fitness. She's hated it. And I said, Dill, do you like fitness? Is there something that I knew to learn about you? She goes, no. And I said, well, why do you do it? She said, because I love these girls. So I think that really just embodies our team, that they love showing up every day. And sure, we have bad days like everyone and days where there's, a little bit of cattiness, but really more often than not, the girls love each other and they love what they're doing. And I think that you just can't replicate that, right? You just can't. It is what it is. And I'm grateful and so fortunate to be a part of it.
The top 4 teams in this bracket receive a bye, and here they are. Hope Christian, the 1, Albuquerque Academy, last year's state runner-up, is the 2, Los Alamos, the 3, and Artesia, the 4. Congratulations to all of them. All 4 of these teams will wait to see who they will face in the quarterfinals. Now, let's take a look at the bracket. Santa Teresa is in the field as an 8 seed. They will take on Bloomfield, the 9. St. Pius is your 5 and will host Aztec, the 12. Goddard is the 6 seed and Miamura, the 11. Moriarty is the 7 seed and will meet up with Belen, the 10. The winner of that will take on Albuquerque Academy. There is your girls 4A bracket. On to girls class 5A. The number 1 seed this year goes to the team with more state titles than any other girls program, the La Cueva Bears. La Cueva has 16 overall state titles as a program. The Bears last won it all in 2017. The Bears are 16-3-1 overall this season. They've been lighting it up lately. They've won 9 of their last 10, and during that stretch, outscored the competition 68-3. The top 4 receive a first-round bye, and they are La Cueva, Las Cruces, El Dorado, and Volcano Vista. Las Cruces is 17-2 overall. El Dorado split with La Cueva this year, and the Hawks have 7 shutouts in their last 9 matches. Their coach says this team has risen up in the face of adversity.
I mean, at the beginning of the season, I think just adversity of just like losing a couple of games back to back to back, which is like, that's just soccer. And then this past week, man, has been more than soccer. And so when you take a step back and look, it's like these teenagers are dealing with a lot. And so I have to give them a lot of grace. But it's just kind of been one thing after another. So the JV coach situation was like the start of the week. And then we had 2 big time injuries Tuesday. And so it's just kind of been nonstop, and just how can I get them to, 1, recognize that it's more than soccer, and 2, kind of just try their hardest to play for the people that have been affected by all of this adversity, if you will.
Here's a look at the brackets. Centennial is the 8 seed and Cibola the 9. They will square off. Hobbs is the 5 and will host Oregon Mountain, the 12. Mayfield is your 6 seed and will host Farmington, number 11. Defending state champ Cleveland is the 7 seed this postseason and will take on the 10, Albuquerque High. Let's move on to the boys brackets and start in Class A through 3A. The number 1 seed in this classification is just like the girls bracket. It's Sandia Prep. The Sun Devils earned the top honor once again. They are 13-4-2 overall. Their only losses are to 5A teams. Sandia Prep has won more state titles than any other boys soccer program. They have 21 blue trophies overall. Their last one came in 2022. They've reached the state final each of the last 4 years. Here's a look at the bracket. Sandia Prep will host East Mountain, the 8 seed. Rehoboth Christian is the 5 and will travel to take on defending state champ New Mexico Military Institute, who earned the 4 seed. Oak Grove is the 3 and will host Bosque, the 6. Tierra Encantada is the 7 and will take on Santa Fe Prep, your 2 seed. Now, for the last spot in this field, there was a 3-way tie between East Mountain, Hatch Valley, and St. Michael's. And when you compare them in that 3-way tie, East Mountain beat Hatch Valley, St. Michael's beat East Mountain, and Hatch Valley beat St. Michael's. So East Mountain wins that 3-way tie and is the last team in. Now, back to Oak Grove for a minute. They're having a really good season. In fact, they're most successful in program history. They've never made it past the first round, and they hope to change that this postseason.
The biggest thing is we have to get over our small school mentality. Like I said before, I think we need to say, you know, we belong and play with that confidence. And we've had a tendency to play with a little bit of fear, like let's hope we don't get scored on, instead of let's go make something happen. So we need to have that attitude going into every single match. We got to make something happen.
Class 4A boys is up next. The number 1 seed goes to the St. Pius Sartans. I know they are watching. Congratulations. St. Pius is the defending state champ. They are an experienced bunch. Head coach A.J. Herrera says this is one of the best senior classes that's come through St. Pius in over a decade. And that's saying something.
They're super talented. They're bought into our culture. They're competitive, and they're just good people. And so, you know, you take that, and you know, you like I said, you sprinkle in the young guys, and they just follow their lead, and we're able to get some good things done.
Remember, the top 4 seeds are in a first-round bye, and here they are. St. Pius, followed by Albuquerque Academy. Then it's Santa Teresa, the 3, and Hope Christian, the 4. The Huskies were last year's runner-up. I know you want to see the bracket, so here it is. Artesia, you are the 8. Highland is the 9. Those two will square off down south. Chaparral is the 5 seed and will host Bloomfield, the 12 seed, in the opening round. Los Alamos, you are the 6 and will take on Taos, the 11. Lovington is in the field as a 7 seed, going up against Deming, the 10. The winner moves on to face the Chargers. Last but not least, Class 5A boys, and the top honor this year goes to, drum roll please, we don't have a drum roll, but I'll tell you, it's the Centennial Hawks. I know they are watching and probably just let out a big yell. Centennial is an experienced bunch. They reached the final in 2022. Centennial is 19-1 overall. Their only loss was a defeat at the hands of Oregon Mountain at the beginning of the month. They've only given up 1 goal since then.
Yeah, I think it took a loss for us to realize, you know what, we got to get back down to earth. Obviously that loss hurt us, physically, emotionally. It was a big one, a big loss for us. But you know what? I told the boys, it's very hard for a team to go undefeated and win state. Last year it was, I think, the first time in a long time that a team did it, So, at the end of the day, one of the things that I've told the boys, I was like, guys, we've been here before. They were freshmen when we were in that state championship game. And guess what? We lost to the 12 seed. It really isn't about the seed that you get. It's about, showing up to each and every game like it's your last and giving the best performances that you can give, and I think the boys are ready.
Remember, the top 4 seeds are in a first-round bye, and here they are. Centennial's the 1, La Cueva the 2, Rio Rancho the 3, and El Dorado the 4. Rio Rancho won it all in 2020. La Cueva's last title came in 2016, and El Dorado last lifted the blue in 2011. Now, let me give you a little inside look at the seeding and selection process and compare Centennial and La Cueva. Centennial had a better overall record and a better Max Preps ranking, so they get 2 points right there in the criteria matchup. La Cueva was higher in the coach's input, so the Bears get a point there. They had the same number of wins against district champs. They both finished first place in district, and they did not play head-to-head. So, by a 2-1 margin in those criteria points, Centennial earned the 1 and La Cueva the 2. Now let's take a look at the bracket. Roswell is the 8 seed and will host 9 Volcano Vista, Rio Grande, and the top scorer in the state is your 5 seed and will host Cleveland. Atrisco Heritage is the 6 and Santa Fe the 11. Gadsden is the 7 and will host defending state champ Hobbs. The winner will move on to face La Cueva. Now, a little bit about this bracket. Volcano Vista, Roswell, and Gadsden were all tied in criteria points. And Gadsden won that 3-way tie, so they earned the 7. And just to show you another comparison, this is the breakdown when you compare, let's say, the 4 and 5 seeds, El Dorado and Rio Grande. El Dorado was higher in the Max Preps rankings. They had more wins against the district champ and beat the Ravens head-to-head. Rio Grande was higher in coach's input and a higher finish in district and a better overall record. So, as you can see, they're tied by a 3-3 count when comparing the criteria points. And in the event of a tie, head-to-head is used. And as I mentioned, El Dorado beat Rio Grande. So, Eagles get the 4, Ravens the 5. Don't forget, you can watch the state championship games this fall on the NFHS network. So, get a subscription and log on so you can watch the championship matchups. That's going to do it for the NMAA State Soccer Championship Seeding and Selection Show. Good luck to all the teams involved, and remember to compete with class.